Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are going to begin this evening with a nigun, which is a wordless melody. So the only words that you need right now are yai, lai, la, lai. Let's try that.
Yai, la, 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 la.
Oh, perfect.
Quick learners, Cantor. Quick learners. They're on it. Join in.
Yai, lai, lai, yai, yai, lai, yai, lai, lai, yai, yai, lai, yai, lai, yai, lai, lai, lai. Try it with me. Yai, lai, lai, yai, yai, lai, yai, lai, lai, yai, yai, lai, yai,
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
That
Shalom.
melody is going to come back in a little bit, so you will, when you hear it, you'll recognize it and you'll be singing right along. Shabbat Shalom and welcome. Thank you so much to everybody who's here on our beautiful Bel Air campus, and to those of you who are joining us from home, thank you so much as well. It's a bit warm this afternoon, but this side of the campus is actually the cooler side of the campus, and this is the cooler set of people too. I got to be honest with you. You guys are amazing. I just made an executive decision, no jacket. I'm not wearing my jacket. You can keep your jacket on if you like. Everybody do your thing, but if you want to take your jacket off and be a little bit more comfortable, please do so. The important thing is that we're here together and we're celebrating and we are supporting and we're with one another. And I'm going to invite a family to come and light the Shabbat candles who have become Shabbat regulars, and we have had so much fun being with you Shabbat after Shabbat after Shabbat, and having your children with us especially. And though you are moving away to Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm going to be rolling in frequently to meet you guys. We'll go out, we're going to have a good time, and maybe do some gambling. It'll be great. But you're going to be coming back for visits a lot. So I'd like to invite the Feldman family to please come forward. All of you, please come forward to light our Shabbat candles and bring in your light. And those of you joining from home, you can light your Shabbat candles right along with all of us. And as you're able, I'll ask you please to rise and join us as we bring in the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much. We're going to continue with L'chu Neranena, Psalm 95. You can find it on page 12 of your prayer book. And it is an invitation, like so many of the Psalms, an invitation to sing out to God. In this case, to sing out to God with Rina, which is a word for joy. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. continue with Zamru Ladonai, which is from one of those same psalms that I was talking about earlier that invite us to sing out to God, page 16. And it's that nigun, that melody that you heard at the beginning, now with the words. If you're still on page 16, that first word zamru, which is the root of klezmer. If you've ever heard of klezmer music, it's that clay means instruments, zemer of song. So that's an exhortation to make a song to God, playing, I think the kinnor is a guitar. I mean, come on, I think that's what it is. And then, what does it say a little bit later? It says, Yiram hayam umalo, tevel v'yoshveva, and then we've got the word rina. Yeah, there it is. Yachad harim yiranenu. And so that rina comes back again, which is another form of joy and gladness. So we're supposed to sing a joyful song. It's so inviting and so fabulous. And I think for every cantor especially, that must be like, isn't that just music to your ears?
I love it. I was listening to it in the car on my way
those
here.
Words and that melody. So thank you so much, Cantor, and thank you, band. We're going to continue on page 20, Lecha Dodi, our just 500-year-old melody poem. This last psalm is probably 2,500 years old, but this is only 500 years old, and it's a poem that reminds us that we are to join together in community on Friday to welcome Shabbat with joy.
Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabe לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, קם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Page 26, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
ולמד דברה חירותי והמליך מלכותי, מחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עלמי עלמיה יתמרח, יתמרח וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן.
Page 28, Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la yai la la. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד, המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד. Please be seated.
As anyone who is married knows, saying something and doing something are very, very different. You can say, I love you 10 times, or you can take out the trash once. And that might have a much bigger impact than the words. Duty often speaks louder than words. This next blessing, Ahavat Olam, expresses the love of the mitzvot, the love of covenant, and the love of duty. Ahavat Olam can be found on page 32.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו וקודמנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה מאהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל שמו ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בעם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לעולכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
According to our sages, there is no redundancy in the Torah. So if something happens once and then we see the same phrase again, there's a lesson that is meant to be taught to us. So why does the Song of the Sea, Mi Chamocha, ask the same question twice? Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Hashem, Mi Chamocha Nedar B'Kodesh. Who is like you? Asked twice in a row. What is this repetition meant for us to learn? Well, the 12th century Tosafists, the students of Rashi, they had an answer. They argued that the repetition describes the two different ways that God parted the Yam Suf, the Sea of Reeds. One of the ways he did it was very naturally. He pushed the currents, and the currents moved, and the water parted. But the other that they point to is a verse that refers to The wind that blew from God's nostrils, right out of his nose, Baruch al-Fik, profound and miraculous. Many of us ask the question every single day, why don't miracles exist? Like, where is my Red Sea? Where is my breath from the nostrils of God? Perhaps this teaching is meant to remind us that miracles are found right here and now, if you look for them in the movement of the water, in the rising of the sun each morning. You know, as I was writing this yesterday, I was sitting and I heard a little bit of cooing behind me, and I turned around and there was a mother with her 2-month-old baby right on her shoulder, and the baby was just softly breathing, and you could hear that breath. For anyone who has a child at home or who can remember it, you know what I'm talking about. And I think it's in these moments, if we open our eyes, we can start to see the miracles all around us. That's the lesson of the repetition in Mi Chamocha. So together, we're turning to page 40 as we ask the question, who is like this God who gives us these miracles, giant and small, every single day?
Ya la 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 la. Ya la ya la 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 la. Ya la ya la ya la ya la la la. Ya la 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 ya la la la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malichutecha u'vanecha, okayim livnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze'elianu ve'amru, ze'elianu ve'ameru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la la
We'll continue on page 42 with Hashkivenu, our evening prayer. It's starting to cool off. I can feel it. The breeze feels kind of nice. And we think about that Sukkot Shalom. And out here on our Caton Family Plaza, this beautiful shade structure. And think about just the comfort that can provide on a hot day like this, something so simple. And then we think about what it might be to live in a city like this. I actually talked to a friend today who was joining a Zoom call I was on from Phoenix, where it was 117 degrees. And can you imagine, no shade, what it would be like to not be able to find any shelter from this heat? So it's at moments like that I think we're reminded not to take that shelter for granted, and to pray not just for ourselves and not just for all Israel, but for all the world, that they could enjoy and experience the shelter of God's peace. Hashkivenu, page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. Lehamiteinu shomreinu lechayim. Ufroz aleinu sukkot shalom lecha, ufroz aleinu sukkot לשלום, לשלום, והעמיתנו שומרנו לחיים. ופרוץ עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוץ עלינו סוכת שלומך.
These are for our calendar days of healing. One of the lessons, I was going to say the gifts, but maybe one of the lessons of Tisha B'Av is the ability to come out of the ashes and come out of the darkness and look towards the light. And of course, that is also our blessing for those in our lives and in our community who might be in need of healing this Shabbat. It is the second Shabbat of consolation. And so as we offer our prayers to those, again, who are in our hearts, in our families, in our lives, maybe even our own selves, we offer that consolation and that hope and blessing for healing. And so if you're joining us at home, we invite you, of course, to add the names into the chat. And if you're here, we just invite you to hold those names in your heart and sort of shine them forward for us so we can hold them all in our prayer for healing. The Misha Berach is on probably page, I believe it's like 253. I think it's 253. Am I right? I am.
Wow, great job.
253.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
I'll confess here that I am a bit of a meditation failure. I'm supposed to be meditating every day, Rabbi Yoshi knows, as part of my process with the Institute for Jewish Spirituality, and I'm not winning at this task. But today I actually had the chance with my Chavruta partner sitting in Boston, he was in Boston, I was here, to take even just 3 minutes, and we did 3 minutes of a sit together, on opposite sides of the coast. And as you were talking about that breath and the miracle, I was actually thinking about what it was for each of us to sort of be breathing into our space. And so that is what I want to offer. I think that's what this moment offers, actually each and every evening for the Amidah, but particularly on Shabbat. I wanted to offer us breath, because part of what breath gives us is a pause. And part of what breath gives us, Cantor Lauren can really tell you about it now, right, is some spaciousness, right? That's what we can create when we have the room and space to breathe. And so as we turn to our Amidah, which is done silently in the evening, I'm going to invite you into various options. You can read the blessings of the Siddur. They go from page 48 to page 62. You can honor the blessings in your heart, or you can take some time to just breathe and breathe into the space and create the space that you need. So we'll invite you to rise as you are able, take the time and space that you need, and as you finish your own Amidah, we invite you to be seated.
עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום עלינו, עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל יושבי ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן. We ask for peace on earth, and we say amen. ואמרו אמן, ואמרו amen. We raise our voice as one, and we say amen.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm sure you all know the story of the tortoise and the hare. Everyone remembers who wins, but we rarely talk about why. The hare did not lose because he was slow. He was actually the fastest animal in that race and one of the fastest animals in the forest. The hare lost because of a few bad decisions he made. Number one, he decided that the tortoise was not a threat, underestimated his enemy. Number two, decided to take a nap in the middle of a race. Not a good move. Number three, he decided that because he was far enough ahead at one point, he would stay ahead throughout the race and ultimately win. And I'm sure each of these, if I could get inside the hare's brain for a moment, I think each of these decisions at the moment probably made sense, and then all of at once, it didn't make sense at all. And I imagine the hare waking up and seeing the tortoise crossing the finish line and sort of yelling, "No!" and realizing that he had really blown it. Now, the tortoise really only makes one decision in the story, and he keeps making that one decision: just keep walking. Nothing about it was fast or impressive at any given moment, but it compounded. That good decision compounded step after step into an unlikely victory. And in miniature, that's kind of how consequences actually work. They don't always show up, sometimes they do, but they don't always show up in the instant that a choice is made. Often it's much later. on the heels of the decisions that we've made. Sometimes so much later that by the time the consequences actually show up, we sort of forgot about the nap that we took along the way, and we end up wondering, why did this happen? And I was thinking about this week when I was reading about this terrible heat wave gripping Europe. I mentioned my friend today in Phoenix, where it was 117, which is sort of expected in the summer in Phoenix. But some of the heat that they've experienced in Europe is just, wow, who knew it could get this hot? And what's tragic, truly tragic about it is estimates are that there are more than 10,000 deaths in Europe that were not expected. Excess deaths, they call it, among especially older adults. Scientists and our own experience tell us that a warming climate has made heat waves like this one more frequent, more intense, and more deadly. And none of this arrived overnight. It is part of the result of countless choices, individual and collective, some made by us, some made by those who came before us over many decades. And in some ways, we've been taking our naps, telling ourselves the race was already won, or deluding ourselves into thinking that there wasn't even a race going on at all. And to say this is not to assign blame, although there are those we could blame, ourselves at times to be sure, but that's not the point. The point is to mention something simpler and in some ways more uncomfortable at times. Our actions have consequences, even when we can't yet see them. And this connects to this week's Torah portion, Parashat Ekev, which begins, V'haya Ekev Tishma'un, and it's usually translated as, if you heed these laws, if you hearken to these laws. But that word Ekev, which becomes the name of our Parsha, is really suggestive, and I want to spend some time thinking about it. It doesn't mean if, really. It comes from a word that means heel, like the heel of your foot. And you might know it because it's embedded in the name of one of our patriarchs, Yaakov. And there's a word play in the Torah that explains why he's called Yaakov, because his older brother Esav comes out first. He's a twin, and he is a heel grabber. He's clutching at the heel of his brother. And it sets up a really nice wordplay in English, too, because, forgive me for saying so, but if you read the story, you will have to agree with me. Jacob is a bit of a heel, especially the way he treats his brother, taking advantage. And he ends up midah keneged midah, which is our biblical form of karma. Things happen to Jacob in a way that suggests that the Torah is judging him for being that heel. It's a consequence of the way that he's behaved. So it's a really suggestive and powerful and beautiful word in some ways, even though sometimes what it teaches us is painful. Now, usually when we look at Parashat Ekev, we think of it as a simple ledger, and in fact, this parsha includes the second paragraph of the Shema, the traditional Shema and Ve'ahavta, which the Reform movement at one point removed from the prayer book, and in most Reformed prayer books, it's still not there. And it deals with, it's taken directly from this Torah portion, it deals with these consequences. And at first, it seems like it's a simple ledger. If you keep the commandments, you get blessed. If you break the commandments, you get punished. And it seems like it's going to work out just perfectly. It's very tidy. But of course, we all know that's not the way the world we experience seems to work or does work. We know that there are righteous people who suffer. We know that there are difficult people who sometimes prosper. We know that a heat wave doesn't check resumes before it takes lives. And that's true with all sorts of other natural disasters as well, and human-caused disasters. So I think the wisdom of Parashat Ekev is it's not a guarantee. I like to think of it as a tendency. Living with integrity and foresight doesn't guarantee a blessed life, but I think it does make one more likely. Living carelessly doesn't promise disaster tomorrow. We all know people who seem to live carelessly with no consequences. But sooner or later, on the heels of our choices, something tends to catch up. Not always to us alone as well. Sometimes the people around us are punished or suffer consequences because of decisions that we've made. It's true of climate change. It's true of civic life, where the health of our democracy is really, when you think about it, just habits built up or worn down over years. A civic culture is thus created. It's true of relationships, which are the accumulated residue of 10,000 small choices to show up, to take out the garbage, to say the right thing or not. It's true of how we talk to one another, how we say we're sorry, how we take accountability, how we express our love. And it's true of our Jewish life. The Jewish future our grandchildren inherit will be built out of the choices we make right now. Which meetings we attend, which checks we write, which committees we say yes to, which classes we go to, what verses we teach our children and the next generation, every mitzvah, every opportunity to partner with God to make the world a better place, every one that is done or perhaps left undone leaves a footprint. And for all of you who showed up this evening, whether here in person or online, let me preach to the choir a little bit. Thank you. You have left a footprint just by being here, and I hope that you will agree with me that the choice you made was a good one. We feel that way for sure. But this is equally important. I want us to consider that the Torah refuses to let us think that these consequences follow necessarily, or that we are more in control than we actually are. Because a few verses later in this very same parashah that talks about Ekev, the things that come on the heel of the choices we make, Moses adds a corrective. Moses says, "And when good things happen to you, don't say to yourself, 'My own power and my might won this wealth for me.'" In other words, don't say, "I made such good choices, and now this is the bounty that comes with all the good choices I make." And then Moses says, "No, remember it was the eternal your God who made this happen." And so there's a balance and a tension in some ways. On the one hand, our choices matter, and they shape what's likely to happen. They can create a tendency towards something coming true in our lives. But on the other hand, we're not the masters of the universe, and we're not fully the authors of outcomes. We don't get to guarantee the ending. So we're neither powerless, nor are we all powerful. We cannot fully control the future or even the present most of the time. We can barely make sense often of the past, but we are not helpless bystanders either. We're partners with God and with each other in shaping whatever comes next. And I think in some ways this might be as close to certainty as we're going to get. And perhaps in some ways that is what faith is. That understanding that while there are no guarantees, a pattern of good choices can make it more likely that the consequences we hope for come true. So here's the invitation. On a Friday night when, especially given this heat, although it is cooling down a bit, on a Friday night when it might be easier to just stay inside and enjoy air conditioning if you've got it, and then change the subject to something less challenging, instead commit to living wisely, to choosing compassion, to caring for God's world in a way that protects it for future generations, to standing up for people who can't stand up for themselves, to teaching your children and grandchildren something that will outlast you, to showing up for community even when it's inconvenient, even when it's hard. None of this will guarantee that the world will turn out the way we want it to, but it makes a more just, more compassionate, more hopeful future more likely. That's not a promise of control, but it is an invitation to responsibility. The hare never saw it coming until he opened his eyes and the tortoise had already crossed the finish line. The choices we make add up, and they shape us as much as they shape the world around us. And so my prayer for this week is that those who might come after us on the heels of our choices, that they might inherit a world made more just, more compassionate, and more hopeful. We owe them and ourselves at least that much. Shabbat Shalom.
So Rabbi Yoshi, as you were talking, I was thinking actually ahead about the prayer that we're about to say, right? And we say a prayer for our country and we say a prayer for the state of Israel. And in lots of ways, those aren't choices we get to make, right? We might reap or suffer the consequences of choices made, but we don't always get to make those choices. But I was thinking that maybe sometimes prayer is our way of inserting a little bit of our own choice into those moments and our own hope for others to make choices. And so I'm going to invite us to turn together to page 258 as we offer a prayer for our country. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit, as together we say, Amen.
Amen.
שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, מערכת מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו.
O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love and spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Together we say, Amen. So I said before Misha Berach, right, that these are the weeks of consolation, and so they are supposed to be the weeks where the darkness lifts a little bit by a little, until we sort of have a chance to come to something new. And so it's a good time, maybe on this Shabbat of consolation, maybe on every Shabbat, to take a moment to reflect on the sweetness, on the blessings in our life. So if we have any other Leo season birthdays like me, any birthdays, anniversaries, hold on, I'll get to you, any joyous moments that you want to share. Yes, Ed? Wow, children when they got married. Children, I say.
50 plus 7 because Yoshi was there 7 years ago.
That's right.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
There when you got married.
Could have been, though. Could have been. 57 years married. Mazel tov. Anyone else? Oh, that was just a bug going away, right, Allison? You weren't telling me something? I had one, too. If you are at home and you have something to celebrate, we invite you to put that into the chat.
It's my beloved mother-in-law's 85th
Happy birthday, Bev.
So Bev, to 120 and beyond.
Amen, amen. So I'm going to suggest that all of us have one moment of sweetness that we're carrying into Shabbat. And so in honor of that, I'm going to invite, we have some friends I'm going to invite to come up. So I'm going to see if Allison and Jonathan and Davis want to make their way forward to help us bring a little sweetness into our Shabbat. And I'll invite you, as you are able, to please rise. The Kiddush for Erev Shabbat is on page 5.
Grape juice.
It's grape juice, we think. Sorry if it's not.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו לשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen.
So take just a moment, turn to someone you didn't come with, wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. I got you. Man, I love grape juice. No, it's sweet. We turn to the words of Aleinu, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
So spoiler alert, if you join us tomorrow morning, right there for Spirit of Shabbat, we start at 8:30 here in person, or you can join us online. You'll get to spend some time in the wilderness. Even though we are no longer in Bamidbar, no longer in the book of the wilderness, we are still in our tradition in the wilderness. And if you have ever learned with me pretty much anything, you know that I love the wilderness. I find it profound and powerful, and I was reflecting this afternoon as I was leading Kaddish for a group of people online that grief in so many ways is the wilderness, right? It humbles you and it opens you and it forces you to look at new paths and new possibilities, even as you look at ones that might be closed. And so we take this moment, maybe in the midst of these weeks, to honor that journey that some of us are walking. And so I'm going to invite, if you are in the period of Shiva or Shloshim, if you are in the first 7 days or 30 days following the loss of a loved one and want to rise and share their name. Thank you. And of course, if you're at home and want to share a name that we can hold with us as well. If you are in the period of Shana, the first year following the loss of a loved one, we'll invite you to rise and share the name or to put it on our screen. And if this time of year brings you to a yahrzeit, brings you to the anniversary of a loss, we'll invite you to rise and share their name. And again, if you're at home, we're holding you with us in these moments. We'll invite you now, as you are able, to rise as we turn to the words of Kaddish Yatom, page 294. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach leolam alomei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha brichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to those who are mourning here and comfort to those who are bereaved, as together we say, amen. We'll invite you to stay standing. We're going to close in a moment with Adon Olam, a classic of our tradition. But just a couple of thank yous, a little bit of gratitude, which our tradition always recommends. So first of all, I really loved those grapes and those chips because they were like the perfect salty sweet blend for me today. So Susan, thank you for always making sure we have a little nosh before we come to services. Yaron and Jeff, always thank you for making such beautiful music and underscoring what prayer can really mean. Tomas and Jack, thank you for making us sound good. Well, me at least. She sounds good on her own, but not me. And Mark, Andre, Jordan, Roz. Jordan, you made the official list now. Thank you to Karen, who always makes everyone feel so welcome on campus, and to Noel, who's coordinating online. Thank you to Rabbi Yoshi for your teaching, Cantor Lauren for your beautiful voice, and so many beautiful melodies tonight, so thank you. And thank you all for joining us, whether you are here in person or online. It makes Shabbat so beautiful and so meaningful, and I hope a little bit of consolation in these weeks of consolation. And so we're going to close. Adon Olam is on page 321.
Adon Olam, Hashem Alach, B'terem kol Yetzir Nivrach, Le'et Nasa, Mechef Sokol, Hazai Melech, Hazai Melech, Shemo Nikra, Beyado, Havki Ruchi, Be'et Hishan, Me'ayira, Be'im Ruchi, Ye'yati, Adonai li, Adonai li, velo ira. Adon olam Hashem malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra li ein nasa v'chefso kol hazai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kilot hakol levado yimloch nora vehu haya vehu hove vehu yeh v'tifara Adon olam Hashem malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra li ein nasa v'chefso kol hazai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kilot hakol levado yimloch nora vehu haya vehu hove v'tifara vehu haya vehu hove v'tifara vehu haya vehu hove v'tifara vehu haya vehu hove v'tifara.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.